At this very moment, the quantum vacuum is opening before you, not as a distant concept reserved for scientists or mystics, but as a pulsating, living and present reality, enveloping every cell of your body, every thought that arises in your mind, every possibility that has yet to manifest. You are not here by chance. You didn't stumble upon this moment as if it were just another random corner of time. You were guided, drawn, and summoned. There is an invisible order weaving the threads of your existence, and that thread has brought you to this message because the quantum vacuum wants to be recognized by you. What we call the vacuum is not a dead, cold, or indifferent void. It is the ocean of all realities, the inexhaustible reservoir of possibilities that never cease to emerge. While most people look at the apparent nothingness between atoms, you are being called to perceive the everything that exists in that space. This invisible field is denser than any matter your eyes have ever seen, more fertile than any soil that has ever sustained life, more creative than any human mind could imagine. It is from this field that worlds arise, and it is within it that your world, at this very moment, is being shaped. Few, very few, can hear this call. Less than 1% of humanity will awaken in time to realize that this is not just another cycle, not just another era. It is the tipping point that separates those who sleep from those who awaken. You are among those who have the rare opportunity to cross this threshold. That's why you feel something stirring within you as you hear these words. It's not a fleeting emotion, it's resonance. It's the recognition that your consciousness already knows what your mind is only beginning to understand. But there is urgency. The vacuum does not remain open indefinitely. The portal pulsing before you is dynamic, alive, and like all living things, it breathes, expands, and contracts. If you hesitate, if you delay, if you get distracted, the door may close before you take the decisive step. And then, years or even lifetimes may pass before another opportunity like this presents itself. It's not enough to hear, you must respond. It's not enough to feel, you must choose. The vacuum will not reveal itself twice in the same way. This is the moment when you decide whether to continue repeating the same patterns that have always kept you bound or to leap into the unknown, trusting that the unknown is, in fact, the matrix of all certainties. You are not listening to just any narrative. You are facing a solemn summons, an invisible trumpet resonating not in the air, but in the quantum field that envelops your being. You can ignore it. You can dismiss it as a coincidence. You can say it's just another video, another voice, another speech. But if you do, you'll be closing your ears to the very fabric of reality, which at this moment is trying to tell you, I am more than you thought. I am more than your senses perceive. I am the vacuum, and I am waiting for. Imagine, for a moment, that everything you believe to be solid, fixed, and immutable is nothing more than a reflection projected onto an invisible screen. That screen is the quantum vacuum. It sustains every atom that forms your body, every thought that crosses your mind, every emotion that vibrates in your heart. You live immersed in this field, yet rarely notice its presence. And that's precisely why this moment is so unique, because now, for the first time, you are beginning to hear the call of this living field that breathes behind reality. This call doesn't come with audible words or signs that ordinary eyes can perceive. It manifests as a subtle restlessness, a feeling that something is about to happen, even if nothing external points to it. Perhaps you've already felt this emptiness within you, which was never truly absence, but rather the silent voice of the vacuum asking to be recognized. The world calls empty what it does not yet understand, but you are being invited to see that this emptiness is, in fact, fullness. You must understand, there is a reason why only a tiny fraction of humanity will perceive this opportunity. Most people are too busy chasing noise, distractions, and illusions. They cannot quiet their minds enough to hear the murmur of the field. But you, somehow, have managed to. If you've made it this far, it's because something within you vibrates at a different frequency. You are not part of the sleeping masses. There is something different in your consciousness. That difference is your key. It allows you to perceive what others ignore. When the vacuum's portal opens, it doesn't present itself with fireworks or spectacular signs. It manifests subtly, as a sense of synchronicity, as an intuition whispering in your chest, as an unexpected encounter that changes everything. You must have experienced this at moments in your life, that coincidence too improbable to be mere chance. Know this, it was not chance. It was the quantum field trying to get your attention. And now, that field is no longer just whispering. It is shouting in silence, expanding before you. You feel that there is something more behind this message, as if it were not just a video, but a decree. As if, somehow, You had arranged a meeting with the vacuum itself at this very moment. And yes, that's exactly what it is. You arranged, even before you were born, this encounter with infinite possibility, hence the urgency. The vacuum is not an empty stage waiting for actors. It is an orchestra already playing, but only those who choose to listen can hear it. And if you don't lean in now to hear, you may miss the melody composed especially for your awakening. The call does not wait indefinitely. It moves, like the tides. It recedes, like the breath of the universe. If you don't follow it, you'll remain trapped in the old rhythm while the current moves forward. So, the question that echoes is, are you ready to cross? Are you willing to trust that what you call reality is just one version among billions of possible versions, and that the vacuum is offering you the chance to choose a completely new line? This is not about belief, religion, or philosophy. It's about physics, energy, consciousness. And you are standing at a crossroads. Ignore it and continue living as if nothing has changed, or open yourself and allow your life to never be the same again. Because at this very moment, the quantum vacuum is opening. And the only question is, will you cross, or will you let it close without your decision? The quantum vacuum is not absence. On the contrary, it is the densest and most mysterious presence in the cosmos. For a long time, even science believed that the space between atoms was a silent nothingness, a dead interval with no purpose. However, more recent discoveries have revealed something unsettling. This space is an immense field of energy, so full and vibrant that it defies comprehension. Every cubic centimeter of vacuum contains more energy than all the visible galaxies in the firmament. It is invisible to the eyes, but it is the silent source of what we call reality. When you look around, you see solid objects, walls, mountains, rivers, stars, but all of this is floating in an invisible matrix, like images projected onto an untouchable screen. That screen is the quantum vacuum. Without it, nothing would exist. Without it, not even your consciousness would have a foundation to rest upon. The vacuum is the backbone of reality, the ground on which even time treads to walk. Curiously, this knowledge is not new. Long before particle accelerators, mathematical formulas, and modern experiments, the ancients already spoke of it. Traditions called this field the ether, the breath, prana, chi, or the spiritual ocean. They didn't have the terms of modern physics, but they already knew through intuition and direct experience that an invisible sea sustained the universe. Science now merely confirms what the sages silently proclaimed. Everything is immersed in a living field, and that field responds to consciousness. Think of the vacuum as an infinite ocean. On its surface, waves appear and disappear. Each wave is a reality, each ripple an experience. But behind all the waves lies the entire ocean, deep, inexhaustible, eternal. You are not just the wave, you are the consciousness capable of diving into the ocean. And every time a thought arises in you, it is not merely a product of the brain, it is a collapse in the ocean, an invitation for a specific wave to form and take shape in the fabric of reality. This field is not outside of you. It is not just something distant between the stars. It pulses within your breath, vibrates in the space between one cell and another, surrounds every beat of your heart. You interact with the vacuum at every moment, even without realizing it. When you think, when you feel, when you desire, you are leaving marks on the field. You touch it with the same ease with which you touch the air, though you have never learned to consciously perceive this interaction. And that's exactly where awakening begins. The moment you understand that the vacuum is not passive, it is not an inert reservoir waiting to be used. It is alive, intelligent, responsive. It observes what you emit and responds. It perceives the patterns of your consciousness and shapes reality accordingly. That's why the ancient masters said, the universe is mental, or everything is vibration. Because they already knew that the vacuum, this invisible matrix, is always responding to the state of the observer. Perhaps you felt this in moments of impossible coincidence, when a thought of yours seemed to attract an immediate response from the world. Perhaps you've intensely desired something and without logical explanation, it manifested. Or perhaps you've been surprised by situations that seemed to come out of nowhere, but were aligned with what you were silently vibrating. None of this is chance. These are glimpses in which you perceive the living nature of the vacuum. And now, as you listen to these words, you become aware of something that was previously operating only behind the scenes. You are not separate from the field. You never were. What changes is your consciousness, which now knows every thought is a seed, Every emotion is a command. Every belief is a mold. And the vacuum, this invisible ocean, simply returns what you imprint upon it. Before we continue, if this message is resonating with you, take a moment to subscribe, leave a like, and comment. This strengthens the field and keeps you connected to future transmissions. The quantum awakening is not an abstract concept reserved for a few scholars. It is a concrete, visceral experience that alters how you perceive yourself and the world. It happens the moment you understand, not just intellectually, but deeply and irreversibly, that reality is not a predetermined straight line, but a set of simultaneous possibilities. The awakening is when you open your eyes to the truth that, with every thought, every choice, every emotion, you move between invisible timelines. Imagine your consciousness as a radio. The device is the same, but the experience you have depends on the frequency you choose to tune into. Many people live stuck on a single station, believing it's the only music available. They complain about the melody, suffer with the news broadcast, but never dare to turn the dial. The quantum awakening is the moment you realize you can change the station, that there are infinite stations available, and you are not condemned to listen to just one. The great mistake of humanity has been believing there is only one fixed reality, an immutable destiny, an inevitable future. This illusion keeps billions of people trapped in the same frequency, repeating patterns they don't question, reproducing stories they didn't consciously choose. But those who awaken see beyond. They understand that every thought is a creative act, every emotion is an energetic signature, every decision is a choice between parallel universes. You need to feel the weight of this revelation. This is not philosophy, this is not metaphor, this is your life, right now. Everything you call past, present, and future is suspended in the vacuum, waiting for the frequency of your consciousness to collapse into form. When you awaken, you realize you are not a prisoner within a narrative. You are the observer who chooses the narrative. You are not time's puppet. You are the consciousness that moves the threads of time. This awakening is not just a change of mind. It comes with unmistakable signs. You begin to feel the world around you becoming more fluid, as if the boundaries between possible and impossible dissolve. Déjà vu experiences intensify, as if you were navigating between different versions of yourself. People may change their behavior before your eyes, as if they were reflections of another reality line. Even your body responds, manifesting new energies, new impulses, new sensations. However, with this expansion comes responsibility, because when you awaken, you understand you can no longer blame fate, others, or circumstance. The awakened consciousness knows it is choosing, even when it pretends not to. It knows that every thought feeds a line, and every line unfolds into entire world. Awakening is not a free gift. It is a summons, a call to assume the power that has always been your hand, but which you didn't dare to recognize. And at this point, life ceases to be mere survival. It becomes a work of art. You begin to walk, not as someone dragged by external forces, but as a conscious creator. You start to experience a freedom that once seemed impossible, the freedom to choose the version of yourself you wish to live, and to move between infinite possibilities like someone opening doors in an endless hallway. At this very moment, your consciousness is already making choices. By listening to this message, you are already vibrating in a different line than you would be if you had ignored the call. This is awakening in action, not tomorrow, not in some distant future, but now. You are no longer the same person who started this video. One version of you has activated, and another has faded. And this is just the beginning. The quantum awakening is not optional. It comes to everyone at some point. But those who consciously choose to live this transition experience a unique acceleration. They see in days what others would take lifetimes to see, and you are among them. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here facing these words, feeling the weight and urgency of this truth. What is happening is not just personal, not just within you. The entire planet is undergoing an unprecedented mutation. There are signs everywhere for those who know how to look. The Schumann resonance, which is like the heartbeat of the Earth, is shifting unpredictably. The magnetic poles are moving. The planet's electromagnetic structure is adjusting. None of this is random. It is a collective process of transition. The Earth itself is aligning with a new frequency, and with it, everything living on its surface. This alteration in the electromagnetic field makes the fabric of reality more malleable. Before, changing timelines required decades, even entire generations, to consolidate. It was like moving a mountain with your bare hands. Now it's like passing through a mist, a single conscious choice, a vibrational adjustment, and entire realities can reconfigure in days or even hours. The acceleration is real, and you already feel it in your own life. Time feels different. Weeks pass like days. Days become as dense as years. This distortion is not just psychological, it is the direct reflection of the quantum field in transition. You are not isolated in this process. Every thought, every emotion, every choice you make interacts with the collective matrix. Imagine billions of consciousnesses vibrating simultaneously, some in fear, others in hope, others still in awakening. All these frequencies create waves that add up, interfere, and resonate in the great planetary field. The portal is not just individual, it is collective. It is the opening of a cosmic window in which humanity, as a species, can leap from one reality line to another. But not everyone will make the crossing. The portal is open, but only those who are conscious will pass through. Many will choose to remain in the density, trapped in old patterns, repeating the same narratives of pain and limitation. They will not see the portal, even if it's right before their eyes. They will continue believing the world is just matter, that life is just survival, that destiny is just chance. For them, nothing has changed. But for you, who have awakened, the portal is unmistakable. You feel the field pulsing, notice the synchronicities increasing, recognize the signs you once ignored. And here lies the urgency. The portal will not remain open forever. It is like a rare alignment of planets, like an eclipse that lasts only a few minutes, like a tide that, once receded, does not return so soon. The field is offering a unique opportunity for accelerated transition, but it is up to you to choose. Ignoring the call means remaining trapped in a collapsing line, where old structures crumble without anything new to sustain them. Crossing the portal means entering a line where the future is already being woven in harmony with the collective awakening. Feel the gravity of this choice. It is not theory. It is not metaphor. It is your life, here and now. You can look around and see crises, chaos, instability. But all of this is merely a symptom of the fabric of reality, tearing to give way to the new. The turbulence is not the end. It is the announcement of the crossing. Those who let themselves be paralyzed by fear will remain trapped in the rubble. Those who trust the call will use the chaos as a springboard. The portal is open, and time is shortening. You feel there is no more room for indecision. Either you choose to cross, or the portal will close without you. That choice is inevitable, and not deciding is also a decision. Knowing that the quantum vacuum is alive is only the first step. The next is learning to interact with it consciously. You already access it at every moment, but unconsciously, automatically, repeating patterns. Now you will be called to choose with clarity, to enter the field with intention and reverence, to shape realities not by chance, but by conscious alignment. The first practice begins at dawn, before you fully open your eyes. When you are still between sleep and wakefulness, you are in a state of extreme receptivity. It is in this threshold that the vacuum responds most immediately. At that moment, choose who you will be in the day ahead. Visualize not just what you want to do, but the version of yourself you wish to inhabit. Ask yourself, which reality line do I wish to collapse today? Then, feel it. See yourself already living as that version. This is not fantasy, but alignment. You are not inventing something that doesn't exist. You are tuning into one of the infinite versions of yourself that already exist in the field. This exercise extends to your interactions. When you think of someone, don't do so from wounds, conflict, or past memories. Consciously choose the version of that person you wish to encounter. In the vacuum, every human being exists in multiple possibilities. When you tune into a higher version of the other, you create space for that version to manifest in your present. This is not manipulation, it is co-creation. It's like tuning the radio of the relationship to a station of harmony, instead of staying stuck on the frequency of pain. There is also a sacred moment before dawn, known in many traditions as the hour of silence. When the world is still asleep and the city is quiet, the field becomes more permeable. It is at this moment that the layers of the vacuum are most open. Wake up a few minutes before sunrise and practice conscious breathing. Inhale deeply, as if drawing the invisible energy of the vacuum into your chest. Hold your breath and feel that, in that pause, there is nothing but pure energy vibrating within you. Exhale gently, releasing everything that no longer belongs to the new line you have chosen. As you breathe, allow your consciousness to expand. Imagine that you are not a limited body, but a sphere of energy expanding beyond your skin, beyond your room, beyond the city. See yourself dissolving into the field, becoming one with the quantum ocean. In this state, there is no separation. You are not just imagining, you are calibrating your frequency, tuning your consciousness to the field of all possibility. The key here is consistency. It's not enough to practice once and expect miracles. The vacuum responds to coherence, to the steadfastness of your vibrational state. It's like learning to play an instrument. The more you practice, the more natural the alignment becomes. Soon, you will realize you don't need grand rituals. A simple thought, a conscious breath, a moment of silence will suffice for you to feel the field respond. And remember, you are not asking anything of the vacuum. You are not begging for a change. You are simply choosing. You are not pleading with the universe. You are part of it. You are the universe choosing itself in a different version. The practice is not effort, but surrender. It is not imposition, but alignment. Repeat this to yourself. I am not imagining. I am calibrating. Fai. That is the truth. You don't create something from nothing. You simply position yourself in the frequency where it already exists. You are the point of convergence between the vacuum and form, the portal between the invisible and the visible. With time, these practices will no longer be exercises, but a natural way of living. You will wake up already aware that you are choosing a line. You will breathe already, knowing you are calibrating the field. You will look at others and recognize that you are interacting not with fixed people, but with versions that resonate with your own vibration. And at that point, you will have become a true navigator of the vacuum. You were taught to believe that the past is a stone prison, an immutable sequence of events that shape the present and determine the future. But in the quantum vacuum, nothing is fixed. Not even what you call the past remains frozen. With every choice in the present, a new line opens, and by accessing it, it's not just the future that reorganizes. The past also rewrites itself to support the new reality. Imagine your life as an infinite book. In one version, the pages narrate pain, failures, limitations. In another, the same pages tell stories of victory, courage, expansion. What changes is not the facts themselves, but the line you choose to inhabit. When you cross into a new timeline, it's as if you were transported to a different edition of the book, one in which certain events never happened the way you remembered, and suddenly, memories become hazy, déjà vus intensify, signs that you are no longer where you were. This is why many feel confusion about the past, memories that don't align, stories that seem to have subtly changed, people who recall events differently. This is not a memory failure. It is the natural adjustment of consciousness as it enters a new line. You are not fixing anything. You are choosing a version of reality where there was never anything to fix. That's the key. There is no repair. There is replacement. There is no correction. There is rewriting. And this changes everything, because it means you don't need to carry the weight of mistakes, guilt, or regrets. They belong to a line you can leave behind. What you call a traumatic past is just a radio station you stayed tuned to for too long. By changing the frequency, the music changes, and the soundtrack of your life transforms. Not because the past ceased to exist, but because you stopped tuning into it. Déjà vu is one of the strongest signs of this transition. It happens when your consciousness quickly crosses between nearby timelines, and you feel you've lived that moment before. In truth, you did live it, but in another version of reality. These cracks in time are reminders that you are navigating between worlds, and that memory is not a straight line, but a network in constant motion. And more, when you rewrite the timeline, the people around you also change. Not because they were manipulated, but because every being is multiple in the vacuum. The rigid father may become understanding. The distant friend may appear with unexpected loyalty. The body that suffered from illness may reveal vitality. The new line brings new versions of everything and everyone. This truth can be frightening. After all, you were conditioned to believe in certainties, fixed stories, unchanging memories. But the quantum awakening no longer allows that comfort. It demands courage to abandon the illusion of linearity and embrace the fluidity of reality. And in that flow, time is no longer a chain that drags you, but a river you navigate. The past no longer needs to be your prison. It becomes raw material for your leap. It bends, reorganizes, reinvents itself before your conscious decision. Every choice in the now reverberates backward and forward, rewriting the fabric. That's why, when you change today, you feel as if you've always been different, because, in a certain line, you always were. The secret is to accept this malleability with reverence. It's not about playing with time, but aligning with the greater purpose already inscribed in you. The vacuum doesn't erase anything by force. It simply opens new versions for you to choose. It's up to you to cross the threshold, And trust that, by doing so, the entire story will adjust in harmony with your new vibration. The quantum awakening is not an end in itself. It doesn't happen just so you can marvel at new possibilities or experience extraordinary phenomena. It is, above all, a call to mission. Because when you awaken, you not only access new reality lines, you reconnect with the original blueprint of your soul, the purpose for which you were brought to this time and this planet. Until now, you may have felt life as a sequence of disjointed efforts, heavy tasks, meaningless struggles. But in the new field, something changes radically. Your dormant talents begin to awaken. Abilities you thought you didn't have emerge naturally. Creative ideas sprout as if from another dimension. It's as if wiser, stronger, more abundant versions of yourself were always waiting for you, and now they become accessible. In this new field, your work ceases to be just obligation. It transforms into expression. What was once a burden now becomes flow. What was once survival now is creation. Your entire life gains new meaning because you are no longer trying to fit into others' narratives. You are aligned with the original script written in your being. That's why, when you awaken, you feel that everything you've lived until now was just preparation, just rehearsal for the true role that begins now. And don't think this purpose is small or private. It is never just about you. Every time someone awakens and embraces their mission, the collective field strengthens. The vacuum responds not only to the individual, but to the whole. When you align, you create resonance. And that resonance ripples, influencing those nearby, and even those you've never met. This is how waves of transformation sweep the planet, not through imposition, but through vibration. The world urgently needs awakened people. Amid the chaos of collapsing old structures, every aligned consciousness becomes a point of stability, an anchor of light in the storm. Your mission may seem simple, a word spoken at the right moment, a gesture of compassion, a shared creation, but don't be fooled. In the quantum field, small acts reverberate like earthquakes. A shift in frequency within you can alter entire reality lines for thousands of others. So, do not neglect the call. You were not awakened by chance. You are not hearing these words just for yourself. You are a crucial piece in the cosmic chessboard, part of an invisible network that sustains humanity's transition. Your purpose is unique, but also collective. It honors your individuality, but also strengthens the whole. And at this point, your life becomes art. Every gesture, every choice, every thought is part of a greater symphony. The vacuum guides you to situations where you can fully express your essence. People will cross your path, not by coincidence, but because they are part of your mission's fabric. Doors will open when you least expect them, because the line you walk was designed for the fulfillment of your role. Engrave this phrase in your consciousness. Your work becomes play. Your life becomes art, because you are aligned with your original blueprint. That is the essence of purpose. Not effort, but flow. Not sacrifice, but expression. Not imposition, but alignment. When you live in this state, every day is an act of service and celebration. You become a channel for the vacuum to manifest creatively, and at the same time, you inspire others to remember who they are. This is how awakening multiplies. This is how the collective field strengthens. You are ready. The call has been made. The new field already recognizes you as part of it. And by embracing your mission, you become a bridge between worlds, between the visible and the invisible, between the old and the new, between what was and what can be. We have reached the culmination of this journey. What began as a whisper from the quantum vacuum now resonates within you as an inevitable call. You have walked through every stage. You heard the vacuum's call, understood its living nature, awakened to the multiple timelines, perceived the collective portal opening, practiced conscious access to the field, experienced the rewriting of time, and recognized the purpose awaiting you in the new field. Now everything converges into a single decision: to cross or not to cross the portal. Recall every revelation. The vacuum is not empty, but fullness. It is the invisible ocean that responds to consciousness. The quantum awakening is not theory, but living practice, choosing, at every moment, the line you wish to inhabit. The planetary portal is open, and changes no longer take generations, but days. You have the practices: breathing, silence, morning alignment, conscious choices. You know the past can be rewritten, that there is no temporal prison. You recognize that your mission is not small, but part of a cosmic network sustaining humanity's transition. Now, the synthesis is complete. You are not a character trapped in someone else's script. You are the consciousness that chooses the story. The vacuum does not decide for you. It awaits your decision, and that decision is sacred. So at this moment, I propose a simple but powerful ritual. Close your eyes for a few seconds, breathe deeply, and feel the invisible field around you. Visualize yourself standing before a portal of light that pulses like a heart. That portal is not outside but within you. It opens in your chest, your mind, your soul. Now, say silently or aloud, "I am part of the quantum vacuum." This phrase is a decree. It is not just a symbolic statement, it is a frequency key. By pronouncing it, you anchor yourself in a line where awakening has already happened, where your mission is already active, where your life already pulses in harmony with the original. This is the moment to seal your choice. Let these words echo not just as sound, but as energy. Write them in the comments as well, as a collective testimony, as a public decree that you have heard and answered the call. When many decree together, the field strengthens. The vacuum responds with even greater potency. You are not alone in this crossing. Thousands of consciousnesses are hearing the same call, in different parts of the world, in different languages and traditions. Each one that awakens strengthens the portal so others can cross as well. What you decide now resonates beyond your life. It touches all of humanity. And to conclude, hear these words as a final seal. The quantum vacuum is open. Now everything depends on your choice. If this message spoke to you, subscribe, leave a like, activate notifications, and share this video. The quantum field strengthens when we are connected.